Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope that you're doing well. We're a whole quarter of the way through a new year. A full 25%. Wow. Time flies. So I figured now's as good a time as any to go over some of the releases that have come out this year and give you guys the ones that I think are the absolute best that have been released so far. So my 5 favorite designer releases of 2022 and also some honorable mentions. So let's jump into it. Now, as I was getting this video together and going through the releases that have come out this year, the ones that I actually own, because I don't own everything that's been announced just yet. There's some big ones actually that I don't have yet, like Azzaro The Most Wanted Le Parfum. Or is it just Azzaro The Most Wanted Parfum? I've seen it both ways. I don't have that one yet, and it could be awesome. So obviously there are fragrances that have been announced that I just don't own yet because I can't find them anywhere to buy them, or else I would. Anyway, I was going back through looking at all the releases that have come out this year that I do own. And I was actually surprised because most of them are at least decent. I mean, maybe some of them don't blow me away, but there aren't any that really stand out as being apocalyptically terrible. There are some that are boring, there are some that are mediocre, but nothing that I smelled and just immediately kind of retched and went, oh. So let's kick this off with a couple of honorable mentions. Now, the first one that I'm going to talk about, I absolutely love. I think it smells friggin' awesome. I love the way it smells, but there's a big drawback to it. And it's Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Italian Love. Like I said, I think this is great. I love the grapefruit in here. The problem is it's very, very similar to Light Blue Forever that came out last year. Now, Light Blue Forever was one of my absolute favorite releases of last year, so it makes sense I would like this one. I mean, if you're gonna give me something that's basically a tweaked version of a fragrance I love, I'm probably gonna love that tweaked version also. And with tweaking, sometimes the tweak is big and you'll go, oh, that's a nice big change. I like what you did. I like that twist, okay? Other times the tweak is small. And then you say, you didn't do too much here. Yeah, and that's this one. Yeah, it didn't do too much. There's also bergamot in here, there's vetiver, there's violet leaf. Actually, a lot of the notes in this fragrance are the same notes from Forever. There are some positives here. This is an eau de toilette, so Dolce & Gabbana charges you less for it. Light Blue Forever is an eau de parfum, so they charge you more. On the whole, like I said, I love the scent. I think it's fantastic, amazing summer fragrance, but it is very, very, very similar to Light Blue Forever. A lot of times I'll tell you guys, yeah, it's potentially redundant to own this fragrance if you already own that one, but there are enough changes that I think you could own both. This is one of those situations where for most people, Light Blue Italian Love is redundant if you own Light Blue Forever, period. And then one more I want to mention, Drakkar Intense by Guy Laroche. I've never hidden that I love Drakkar Noir, that I'm just a sucker for that 80s yuppie powerhouse. I don't care what anybody says. You can say, oh, Drakkar Noir reminds me of my uncle during his hair metal phase, driving a Camaro with Aquanet in his hair, you know, listening to Def Leppard and spilling Budweiser all over himself while he tries to peel out from a red light. You know, that's what Drakkar Noir reminds me of. And I would look you in the face and say, cool. I love Drakkar Noir, always have, always will. I make no apologies. Drakkar Intense, maybe a little bit of Drakkar Noir in there. Also the original Drakkar, bit of that in here as well. Drakkar Intense through the mid, probably one of the best smelling fragrances this year for me personally. I sprayed it on a tester strip before this video just so I could get another whiff of it. It is nice. The problem that I have with it is I don't seem to get very good performance with it. And it's not one of those situations where, oh, I'm going nose blind to it and it's super strong. That's not it. It just seems to die away. Of course, I could always spray heavier to rectify that situation, I guess. Drakkar Intense, love the way it smells, but it just barely didn't make the official top 5. Now, all this said, this list will change. So the end of the year list will be different than this one as I wear these fragrances more and my opinions on them develop even further. And also new fragrances come out that could replace them. All right, official top 5, let's friggin' go. Now, these are in no order except for number 1. Number 1, I'm pretty set on right now. First one I wanna talk about, Dior Homme Sport 2022, or depending on where you look, Dior Homme Sport 2021. This one has lemon, bergamot woods, and some aldehydes in the fragrance. And this actually has grown on me a good amount. I like this one a lot. It's got kind of a green tinge to it. It is definitely following in Dior Homme 2020's footsteps. So instead of falling back on that iris that everybody knows Dior Homme for, instead here it's really based around the woods, or at least in the base. You know, this fresh, modern woodsiness. That green nuance that goes throughout this I think smells amazing. Gives it a nice touch of class, even though it is a sporty scent. Overall, I think it's a really nice package. Versatility is there, compliment factor is there, performance actually pretty good for me, all things considered with this being, again, a sport scent. Wonderful fragrance, Dior Homme Sport, really like it. After that, we're gonna go with Lacoste L1212 Blanc au Fraiche. I didn't expect much at all from this fragrance. I frankly expected it to smell like toilet water, just kind of a throwaway sport scent, you know, like a urinal cake. Well, maybe not that bad, but you know, just some kind of chemically fresh mess. Maybe that's being a little bit harsh, but my expectations were not all that high. Then I got this in and realized this is actually a very, very nice, pleasant, citrus-forward fragrance. There's apple, vetiver, and ambroxan, as well as that citrus mixing together with ginger and done expertly. Maybe not the hardest thing on earth to pull off, a zingy, fresh ginger mixing together with citrus, but when it's done well, it always pops. It sings. It always grabs people's attention. Just the right balance of sweetness and freshness. Perfect spring and summertime scent, and one that I think once it hits discounters, it's gonna be a great buy for a long time. After that, from Hugo Boss, the scent Le Parfum. The scent is a line that I'm a big fan of, especially the scent Private Accord. They do have some misses. I think Pure Accord really is trash. I think that's the worst one in the entire line. And when this one was announced, I didn't know what to expect once again, because they named this Le Parfum and they made iris a focal point of the fragrance. You could pick it out in the note breakdown. That was the first thing everybody saw. Oh, they put iris in this one. And I thought, are they re-releasing their limited edition? Because they did the scent Parfum, which, like I said, was limited, and that had a focal point of iris. In case you're unaware of that fragrance, it is this one. So my thought was, they're taking this and then re-releasing it and rebottling it. Is that what's going on here? Which maybe would make sense, because with everything going on in the world, with all those issues with supply chains and everything, maybe they just say, hey, you know, we already got this formula, right? Let's just put it back out there. But that's not what they did at all, actually. This does not have as much of a focus on iris as this, which maybe to an extent is a little bit of a bummer, because this one does smell amazing. Love this one, but Le Parfum is great in its own right too. You've got that Meninka in here like always. That's what's gonna tie this entire line together, the Meninka fruit. Dusty, fruity, exotic. I've said it a million times, you've heard it a million times. And if you've smelled any of the scent fragrances, you can probably pick that Meninka out immediately, to the point that if you smelled something blindly, a new release that wasn't, you know, out there yet, that you had no information on whatsoever, you just had it in a tiny little nondescript, unnamed bottle and you sprayed it on, you could probably pick that Meninka out and be like, oh, is this a new scent? Okay. But you have that Meninka in here, you got ginger, woods, and of course that iris. It is sweeter than I expected it to be. I thought this was gonna be a little bit deeper, richer, heavier, but it's really not. It's a sweeter take on an iris infused the scent fragrance. And I think it's actually really well done, very nice. I still like the scent Private Accord more, but this is a solid release. And from there, of course, this bad boy, Acqua de Joe Eau de Parfum. C notes, mandarin orange, clary sage, vetiver, some of the notes in the fragrance. This one is what you would expect, a grown-up, heavier version of Acqua de Joe. It does have bits and pieces from other fragrances in the line, not just a straight up eau de parfum of Acqua de Joe. You can see inspiration from the other fragrances in the line. You have that freshness here, you have that aquatic feel, also a little bit of a green feeling around the edges, which I've said a bunch of times. I'm a big fan of that. I mean, Dior Homme Sport has that and I love it. It stays fresh throughout, but it does have a little bit more of that density as it dries down, which some people probably won't like as much as fresher takes on this DNA. It also comes across a little bit more mature, so it's not going to be the most youthful in the Acqua de Joe line. Performance is very good though, projection, longevity, really nice for an aquatic. I'm interested to see what path they take here. If they're gonna go the Bleu de Chanel Dior Sauvage route, and they're gonna come out with Acqua de Joe Parfum next or something like that, because now they've set that in motion. You know, they have the Eau de Toilette, they have the Eau de Parfum, then the Parfum. I guess we'll see, but for now, Acqua de Joe Eau de Parfum is the newest, and I think it's a really good one. Now, so far, my favorite release of the year is this one, Gentleman Eau de Parfum Reserve Privee. Mouthful of a name, a little bit overkill, but this is good stuff. Iris, once again, one of my favorite notes, front and center in this one. They've added chestnut in here and whiskey as well. The whiskey is never really in your face. It's not aggressive. It's always around the periphery. It's always there, you know, it gives you this little bit of booziness, this sweetness, almost like a smoked caramel whiskey or something, just right along the edges of the fragrance. And that chestnut, of course, they're trying to bring this in with all the other fragrances using hazelnut and chestnut and toffee, all those notes. Yeah, you got a little touch of that in here. Going back to Italian Love, this is a bit of a tweak on that existing Gentleman DNA that you've seen with Gentleman Eau de Parfum, Eau de Toilette Intense, and Eau de Parfum Boisé. Obviously, you can see this slot right in with those. You can pick similarities out from those fragrances with this one, but I think that this smells amazing. I think what they've done, the little changes that they've made have really elevated it. I think it's a fantastic release, my favorite one so far, and I've actually been wearing it a lot these past couple weeks. Because yeah, it's spring, but it's pretty crazy. It'll get up to 80 degrees Fahrenheit one day, and 2 days later, it'll get down to like 30 degrees. So you have a 50-degree swing in 2 or 3 days. And so when it's been chilling down, I've been wearing this one. And this one I like more today than when I did the first impression. So this one has been growing on me more and more. So there we go, my 5 favorite releases of the year so far, and a couple honorable mentions that I also love that have a detracting point that kind of scooted them just on the outside looking in. All right, guys, let me know in the comments what you enjoy that's been released this year so far, your favorites. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.